Hello and welcome back to another episode of Media Munchers. I'm Mathian,
And I'm Adrian.
and we got a little fun thing, a new little fun thing we're doing today. I'm gonna make you guess the Marvel movie by the horrible one-star review. I've seen other people do this before, especially Mr. Sunday movies, and I think it's hilarious. So without further ado, I picked my little hand-picked ones, and I'm gonna read them off to you, Big Apple. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, number 1, terrible, big budget filmmaking at its worst. The first one was average. The second, diabolical. I thought this surely would be an improvement, but oh no, this is just awful. Really, really bad. The plot is stupid and makes little sense. The action is totally unrealistic, and half the villains have crazy X-Men type powers, which is not properly explained how it came about. The humor is tacky and quite honestly, the worst film I've seen for a long time. All the old tacky cliches are in abundance. The scenes are repeated from the second film and time again. It's like watching the same film half the time. What do you?
Wow.
It just burned the hell out of that movie, Big Apple.
Yeah.
So there's a few hints. I mean, first,
Okay.
second movie. How many trilogies do we actually have
Trilogies?
in the MCU? Think about it.
MCU. So there's Captain America. There's
Mhm.
Iron Man.
Mm-hmm. So that's at least 3. That narrows it down a bit.
Yeah.
Crazy X-Men type powers. What does that remind you of?
Would that be Avengers? Would that are they considering that a trilogy?
I mean, you could consider it a trilogy, but half the villains. There was only really one true villain. The
Yeah.
third Avengers movie. You know.
Yeah, that's true. I'm
You're blanking.
Yeah.
It's Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3.
Okay, that's true. They did have
Trippy abilities.
yeah they did, right? What
They
did
did.
they do?
Well, because they
Exploded.
They exploded.
Yeah,
They had like
and then,
heat body vision.
yeah.
They could laser people with their arms.
Yeah, I mean it was kind of like generic, I guess.
It was arbitrary. It was
Yeah,
like,
it
how
was
did this
fun.
happen? They never really explained it. They were just like,
Mhm.
that one thing, that one MacGuffin that gives them powers.
Yeah.
All right, number 2, 2 hours of my life wasted. What an awful movie. Totally self-indulgent, overly sentimental. Look how cute we are movie. No plot, zero, none. Just sweetness and lace. Ridiculous waste of time. Man, they are laying into them. The first movie was witty, sharply written, original. This one, exactly the opposite. Nothing witty, nothing original. So much cuteness, I wanted to stick my fingers down my throat and barf. Save your money, but more importantly, save your time and skip this horrendous so-called movie.
Oh man.
So obviously this is a sequel.
Right. And these are all Marvel movies,
These are-
correct?
All MCU movies. I promise you there.
Right. Kind of thinking Iron Man 2.
Okay. But look how cute you are. Iron Man 2 gave you those vibes.
Well, what else would be cute?
I don't know, something consumer friendly. Maybe has like an upbeat vibe to it.
I guess the Iron Man 3 would be.
More like that. But this is definitely insinuating it's a sequel, like as in the second movie in the Gauntlet. And there's a lot of sequels. There's a lot more sequels than there are, trilogies as a whole in the MCU.
Yeah. Would you include Spider-Man
Like Homecoming?
the Homecoming part of it? Well,
I
guess
wouldn't
they're not a
because
trilogy,
it's
but
not a trilogy yet.
yeah.
So, well, what are the 2 Spider-Man movies? There's only been one, really, right? Or
Well,
has there been 2?
Homecoming and then Far From Home.
That's right, Far From Home.
Although, I guess that was a little wasn't
No,
like
technically it was the second movie.
no,
Right.
but in terms of like the tone, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't like.
Cute.
No, look
but-
how cute we are now. Do you want another hint, or do you want to?
Yeah, sure.
They emphasize cuteness. So, how they like turning all the characters into plushies and stuffies. What's a
Okay.
franchise that's easy to make those out of characters that are primary leads?
I don't know. Would it
When we
be,
say
like-
cute, it's usually not humans.
Yeah.
So like.
I don't want.
I'm just gonna tell you. That's okay. You wanna, here, I'll give you the answer and we'll pull up a list. You
Yeah.
ready?
Okay.
Okay, so the answer was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Cuteness,
See what they're saying.
probably like, Groot dancing,
Yeah,
Star-Lord,
yeah.
Quill, all that stuff. You know what I mean? So, here, we'll take a little moment and we'll do that. All right, the third review, number 3. Deserves to be crushed under a shoe. Okay, enough already. Another formulaic load of old tripe featuring boring, cocksure, dumb, and supposedly charming hero blessed with superpowers he doesn't deserve, and boring us all to death through 2 turgid hours of special effects plot. And boring us all to death through 2 turgid hours of special effects and a plot you can write on the back of a postage stamp. See Iron Man, Green Lantern, etc. Anyone else? This one thinks it's a bit of a comedy, except the lame jokes are signposted about a mile away and deserve to be punctuated with a budum on the snare drum.
All right. I mean, I'm thinking Ant-Man probably.
Yeah, you got it right on the money.
The pun.
Because the puns and the
Yeah.
and the jokes. Okay, so I was trying to be vague about them, so this was a good one. This one was good. All right, so as I was saying, a big hint comes at if you like endless jokes at the expense of any real character or story development in place of any type of gravitas and epicness, it's perfect. Well, I mean, which MCU film just keeps the jokes coming and doesn't really have a moment to take a pause?
Maybe the second Guardian.
It's a good guess.
Yeah.
Not that. High campery and pantomime villain.
Villains, plural.
Well, technically yes, plural. But
who had more than 2 villains, or more than?
I mean, it depends on how you classify them. Villains often have henchmen, just like Thanos and his crew. So I mean, a lot of them actually fall under that category. Think about it. I mean, Caecilius had his little henchmen, even though they didn't have names.
Yeah.
So I mean, don't worry. Don't focus on villains. Just focus on high campery. What's the campiest Marvel film out there? Like super over the top.
Would it be Ant-Man at that point?
No, even that's grounded. Here's another good help. Here's another good quote. One redeeming feature. It felt like a zany comic book made into a film. That's a huge hint. Which is the most comic book like of the films we've seen so far? Literally art.
Oh, well, Endgame. No.
In terms of, let's say, spectacle and visuals, like art. Remember how I really want you to get this. When people reviewed it, they said, oh, they took so-and-so's art from the comics and they literally put it right there on the screen. So lots of colors.
Was this like a recent one?
Yeah, last 5 years. It's Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
That's what it was for. I really led you on because I wanted you to get it. They dropped a lot of hints in this review.
Yeah.
They apparently didn't like it. The only place I would agree with them is at the end where Thor like literally sees his home destroyed and they crack a joke like 2 seconds later.
Yeah.
I was like, and we're back. We're gonna talk our Loki episode 6 little recap / review, and we made it, man. We are at the end of the line with Loki. So much has changed, but then in other ways, like just the world's cracked wide open, wouldn't you say? I mean, like with that ending, it's like almost like a soft reboot. And I was wondering how they're gonna accomplish that for the longest time because obviously Disney and them acquired pretty much all of X-Men, everything from Fox, right? All the X-Men characters, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, the whole IP.
All of it's theirs now. So they have a much bigger sandbox to play in. And so that would explain, how everyone gets to get folded into the fray. All the new characters, how they do stuff with like Venom and like all the crossover with Sony and stuff.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, we finally got our answer. I know there was rumors, but I really didn't expect them to have such an involved explainer of basically King Conqueror and his whole
this whole exposition.
They dropped a whole bomb on us.
It was
a solid 20 minutes of just explaining what's going on.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, y'all really saved that to the end, huh? We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but I mean, if you're watching this, you've seen it. You know how it goes. I think when they were walking in and exploring, they did more of that imagery, like the camera spinning again, and like the whole sands of time and all that being reset, and it's all very circular. Like we even see at the beginning, how like the literal loop of time is a circle. Like,
right.
There's like almost no beginning and end. It's continuous, and that really made sense later when Kang was explaining to them, hey, like it doesn't matter if you take over, you kill me, it's fine, like because I'll see you again, reincarnation, baby.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, cool. But Sylvie and Loki, they go in. They get greeted by Miss Minutes. Was like that was a jump scare. Like I was like, oh, did you get scared? Like, did they catch you off?
No, it wasn't like loud enough.
Really?
Yeah.
I think
when
we were watching it, we had the volume turned up, and then like we were watching it on the big screen. So I was like, whoa. She's a little menacing. Like
she definitely had a bit more of a
like an edge or something.
Sinister,
right? Yeah.
Appearance.
Who do you think her allegiance is to? Like always Kang?
I would assume Kang.
I would assume as well, right?
He probably created hers.
Right. But I wonder if she retains anything or if she gets reset as well. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Oh, you think
Like
maybe she has some agency herself?
possibly. Like I don't know the full extent of her existence because if she can literally pop up anywhere in space and time or outside of the timeline, she
Yeah.
literally went to the end of the time and she had to physically go there and then she came back to meet with Ravonna. Ravonna's like, "Did you get what I needed?" She's like, "Oh, we had
Right.
some
Right.
hiccups." So I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, but I'm like,
Yeah.
will she be back? She more than likely will be back in season 2. And if so, like, does she remember? Like, does she remember what happens in each like
Mm.
iteration of each loop of every
Right. Right.
timeline?
Right. Like maybe she's probably the like how Kang gets
The
all
power? Oh, okay.
because she's like the way that he controls all the time.
Yeah, maybe she's like a cosmic DVR,
Yeah.
catching them up on what happened.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's interesting. Um, but yeah. So they go through the whole thing. I wasn't expecting, of course, to see Majors as Kang, but furthermore, I wasn't expecting him to be so campy. Like I was kind of like a senile old man at the end of
Yeah.
time. Like I
Yeah.
was
He was
like,
very like bright and bubbly.
yeah. I mean, it was a nice like I guess contrast to the doom and
Yeah.
gloom of them trying to figure out what's going on. But it was really nice seeing him knowing everything and having like super advanced tech. He's like he doesn't even have to try and use like a tempad or whatever
Right. Right.
like
Yeah. He has his own advanced.
um gear, I guess.
Yeah.
There was all kinds of breakdowns about it, and it was really neat to watch. But I think the most fascinating thing was how he was like he was not like a menacing like in the traditional way where like he has to like show and puff his chest that he's powerful.
Yeah. He
Like
was completely relaxed.
completely, and it was unsettling.
Yeah.
And I loved how he put them in their place. Like especially Sylvie, he was like, "Grow up, like grow up, Sylvie, you
Yeah. He
hypocrite,
was very like childish too
killer." He
with
was,
that the way that he emoted that. Yeah.
yeah, and it was interesting seeing both Loki and Sylvie, who are supposed to be so similar,
Mhm.
diverge in their understanding of what's going on. Because technically, Loki went through a ton of character development, and this is like what a week. If we're supposed to believe this all happens within a week of his time,
Yeah. Essentially.
and then Sylvie, who's been fighting this one fight, this one note her whole life, just can't see the other side. She can't fathom that like anything that the man behind the curtain can say is true. That
Mhm.
he just has to be killed. That's just reality, and
Yeah.
maybe that's what we'll see in season 2. Is her coming to grips with her choice and all that. Um, but I thought it was very interesting how like Loki's like we should take a minute. We should take a minute to hear him out. He knows they're outmatched, and then they end up fighting. I wasn't really expecting them to get into a physical altercation just because it was like 30 minutes of just them talking. I was like, this might be a chill
Yeah.
finale, and then they did, and it was cool. It was cool to watch, but I was just like, all right.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of did that throughout the entire series. But it was more conversational, like character based, than it was action packed.
Fair, that's
I don't
true. I in some ways I enjoyed that much more. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's
yeah.
not all, it doesn't all have to be smashing.
Yeah, it was a good contrast to even the past series that they've had.
Yeah. I mean, they're dealing with more conceptual things. It's not
Hmm.
exactly like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I mean, there's definitely concepts at play there, but they're very much more earthly and grounded. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So if you can't talk it out, you're gonna punch it out, type deal. So that's good. There's more lore. I believe this is also what else did happen in this episode? Yeah. So wasn't it I forget her name. Is it
Rensselaer.
not Renslayer, but it involves her. It's the hunter. I forget if it's B-15 or not, but
Oh
she
yes,
she
B-13.
one of them. The
It's just
the
numbers,
main one.
but
It
yeah.
is just numbers. But she shows all the other TVA agents like proof, like, hey, even the great,
Right,
Ravonna
right, right.
Renslayer is a variant. Look at her. Look what happened. And they're like, what? She's like, what's going on? You can't be here. And there was all kind of Easter eggs littered throughout there. What surprised me is that she was from our era, like from 2018, and then she got
Oh
pruned.
right.
I was like, okay, like I didn't know where she would be from, but it threw me off that it was so recent.
Hmm.
When did she get pruned? Why did she get pruned? Why did some high school like principal get pruned? I think that's what her position was, something like that,
Yeah, I believe
some
she
sort
was
of school
principal.
administrator. And I was like, why did she get pruned? What did she do? Um, but what's interesting is that she is so driven that when she goes to find out what the truth is, I have to believe. She tells Mobius that like whoever did this, gave us this purpose for a reason,
Hmm.
and I have to find out what that is. And then she just dips through a tempad after deciding not to kill Mobius when they get to the altercation later. It
Right.
was cool seeing them like him come back. It's like I'm back. She's like, you had to go and ruin our friendship.
Yeah,
Um,
I like their interactions every time
yeah,
they're paired together.
they show, and I heard that there are some deleted scenes, but they show through their dialogue and their interactions that they have a lot of history,
Hmm.
and it'd be nice to see that. But
Mhm.
they definitely show it, and I'm very curious to see. I mean, millennia, she says, like they
Yeah.
were friends. I was like,
Or
bruh.
Eon.
Eons, even
Yeah.
more. So I'm
Yeah.
like, bruh, they've been friends for a schminute, and I want to know. I want to see what she does next. Does she forget? Like, who remembers? Because if Loki can remember what happens during the reset, who remembers?
Right.
You know what I mean? Is it sweeping? When does it take place? You know what I mean? When
Mhm.
exactly does the reset happen?
Yeah. Yeah. Like.
Or does your memory
Yeah.
change?
They never really did show how they've lost their memory.
Right.
Exactly. Like
You talking about
how.
the TVA agents?
Yeah. Yeah. All of them. How they. Because I would assume Kang figured out some sort of
Right.
do that, but they never really touched on.
So including them, that's true. Including them because like who decides who's immune and who's not? You know what I mean? To the memory wipe. Because if
Yeah.
time is
If
still
there's somebody. Yeah.
circular, if it's still circular,
Hmm.
um, then if that happens, it's kind of like a paradox. If that happens at the end of time, well, then from the beginning of time, things were always different. You know what I mean? The war that King talks about is coming is already happening in the past. Like once everything's set in motion.
Right. Yeah.
But with all the branches, I don't know if like new circles appear. You know what I mean? It's all very confusing and
Yeah. Yeah.
conceptual.
Exactly.
But I'm just curious. Like, okay, Sylvie gonna remember, and if so, in what capacity? Is Loki the only one? Are Loki in this iteration of Loki? He's the only one that remembers. You know what I mean? How come Mobius and B15 or Hunter B15 don't remember 13, whatever she is? You know what I
Right.
mean? That threw me for a loop. So I was just like, we gotta find out next season.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that was like an alternate universe.
jumped into.
Yeah. Pushed into.
Then how does he get back? What's the end game here, David? Yeah, it's gonna be real interesting. Um, do you think we're gonna see like or you think we're building to that multiversal war? Like it sounds like that's the next big Thanos level event because that's huge. You know what I mean? You can't just say that and then not show it. Do you think how soon we're gonna get that? Is that Avengers 4 or 5? You think like 5, 10
I
years?
I mean, it kind of sounds like what they're planning on is having like Kang be the main villain for maybe even like multiple
Yeah, like movies.
characters, movies,
Yeah.
like because he's gonna show up in Ant-Man and Wasp,
Mm-hmm.
the sequel, um, and then
I
I
would
think there's supposed to be a possible cameo in Doctor Strange.
right. That would make sense.
Yeah, so if potentially he shows up in multiple movies, it could all unfold into the next Avengers movie as like grand
Yeah, I think that's definitely where they might be building
finale.
because you can't just do that in one movie and that's it. Like, you gotta build
Yeah,
to it.
it seems like he's gonna be really big.
Yeah, he's gonna be prominent. But the way he described it is like if you think I'm bad, depose this dictator and the worst one
Yeah.
fills a spot. Wait till you see my replica, my variants, and that makes me wonder. We might not only see just one. There might be like multiple different versions we run into in the movies.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah.
So like that might get confusing quick for a general audience. But I'm looking forward to seeing like different iterations,
Hmm.
what they all bring, and
Yeah, and
who
we
they try
kind
and
of got
recruit.
maybe a little bit of a hint in even the scene with Loki and Mobius
Mm-hmm.
at the very end
Right.
with
Right.
the statue in the background.
Right. How
That
it's no
that
longer
might
a
have
lizard
been it might have
it-
been a alternate version of Kang.
who came to power.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you're dealing with a new devil basically,
Hmm.
and you don't know what his intentions are. So that's gonna be very interesting. And what's killing me is like how much do they know? Because let's say hypothetically, are Loki and perhaps Sylvie are the only one or two people who actually remember what happened in the previous timeline.
Right,
Maybe
right.
Doctor Strange too, if he's actually powerful enough.
Mhm.
Whatever. Like who remembers and who doesn't? Like it's driving me crazy because it's like if everyone gets their memory wiped, then like obviously all the movies we just saw are basically for nothing. But if they have like new memories kind of implanted or that kind of thing,
Right.
then that's gonna change things going forward. What gets to stay and what doesn't? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's gonna be interesting. Do you think they're gonna ever get a new sacred timeline, or is it just gonna stay chaotic forever?
Well, if Kang is to like be right, I would assume that at some point it would kind of go back to his ruling, I
Mhm.
guess. But it would kind of depend on how exactly like solve that problem.
Right? How events transpire
Yeah.
exactly. What I really like is that at one point he's like, I know everything's gonna happen. He even shows him transcripts, and he's like, and at this point on, I don't know. And
Yeah.
that's cool because I was like, well, if he knows everything's gonna happen, things predetermined. But now that the gates are wide open, literally anything can happen. that goes back to the new IPs, all the new characters,
Right.
everything. So like the entire universe is our oyster, and we get to bask in it, big A. But overall, I mean, it was a solid job. Great little, post credits teaser. He'll return in episode. Loki will return in episode 2, and I mean, in season 2 rather. Yeah, and there's more to come. I'm just looking forward to more Mobius.
Yeah.
Wow, I was your friend in another timeline. What? It's gonna be great. All right, we're gonna take another little break, and we'll be back with Superman episode 10. All right, and we're back with our little recap of Superman and Lois episode 10. Oh mother, where art thou? So tons of things happen in this episode. Lots of revelations. At the beginning we get a little recap, and we learned that Morgan's name is Tal-Rho, and that he is Superman's brother. So like as we were speculating last week or last time we reviewed it, we're like, is it more of like a hey, we're a brother in arms, or are they actually blood related? And he goes to the trouble of explaining that I believe it was Laura Vaughn, which I guess is Kal-El's mother, right?
Right.
She was matched to Tal-Rho's father, and they had a child together, genetically matched. And then she married later Jor-El for love. They had Kal-El. And we learn also that Tal-Rho was sent to Earth like first, like years before, but he landed in like somewhere in England or something like that. And he was hunted like immediately. People with guns, some freaking alien. So I was like, oh yeah, that'll extremify you for sure if you're just hunted your whole life. Laura was warned that Krypton was dying, and then Tal-Rho was sent to Earth by his father. So Morgan Edge, Tal-Rho, whatever you want to call him, he was the first son sent to Earth to help the dying Krypton. Even though everyone believed it was Superman. Obviously, again, he was hunted and stuff. He was even jailed at some point. And then when he saw light later and got charged up, he killed those guards. I was like, all right, yeah, that's how he got his freedom. But his goal is to build up the army and restore Krypton through all that. I guess you can call it resurrection technology.
I guess
consciousness.
Yeah.
They implant it in new people, and since everyone was compatible, they are literally bringing back like sons and daughters of Krypton, which was really trippy as a concept. And we learn that Laura Vaughn, or Kal-El's mother, made that technology. Like she literally invented it,
Right.
and she's pretty much the only one who knows how it works. And so we're jumping all around, but the long and short of it is that Kyle Cushing taking over. He's got to get in prison. Blah 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 blah. All the drama with his dog. So much is happening.
Yeah.
And what the trippiest thing to me that happened was that Kal-El got to see his mom. Like they literally resurrected her through who's Miss Cushing?
Lana.
Is it Lana? Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that was trippy because they were like
Yeah.
before she was resurrected, she had history with I guess Clark growing up with him, and I think they dated back in the day. And now like the woman he dated is like possessed by the spirit of his mom, and she's like giving him advice on how to stop Morgan Edge. I'm like, this episode's really trippy. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
There's all kinds of like B and C plot with like the kids, and Sarah getting a hold of herself, and
right.
coming to grips with like why everyone's been lying to her this whole time. I'm like, well, that's good. Now she can stop hating everybody because she was just shitting on everybody. Her father, Jordan, even her mom. I was like, pick a chill pill, girl. It was like literally the army's here trying to stop alien invasion. You're crying about. Anyway, so that was done. Kyle's kept in a cage, of course. DOD takes over Smallville. Alana tries to help. Everyone plays a part, and they play it well. Like, and not just the actors. I mean, like the characters. Like everyone's trying to help. Everyone's trying to clean up this mess together. Morgan Edge is definitely on a losing battle this entire show. I mean, that doctor that helped him, all the people, ends up getting captured by Superman and the DOD, and he helps them reverse everybody. Like managing the machine and all that. And it's just a real slippery slope for that guy. And Superman, with the help of it, with everyone cooperating and stuff, he's able to cure everybody at once by taking that little brain, that little crystal thing.
Right.
I was like, how are they gonna power it? I was like, he's just gonna fly it to space and throw it into the sun, or like how are they gonna send the antidote out to everybody?
Right. Yeah, because apparently it needed more than just one sun, or was
they said they needed the power equivalent to basically the sun that powers your Earth. What they said, something along those lines.
Something like that,
so
right?
More than anything they had with them. And I was like, okay, word. So what's he gonna do? And he said he was gonna release all his energy. So he's just gonna laser it until it's done. But then all the Kryptonians that get activated in Smallville, literally like we discussed, I was like, bro, they're gonna make everyone a hero. And sure enough, everyone has powers.
Yep.
And they're flying after him, and those eyes that are glowing are hella menacing. And I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, and you just see all like a whole storm.
Yeah, it's like those
of Superman.
family's coming.
Yeah.
Like, bruh. So, and then of course all their eyes light up. He swoops it, and then like they all laser it together. Morgan Edge was like, no, and I was like, that's pretty tight. And you know what they didn't answer? And I thought it was goofy. Is
What?
that after he explodes it, people gotta fall out of the sky. They don't have powers anymore. How did
Yeah,
how did
that's
they
true.
survive that fall? Like they just
Yeah.
lingers until they're safely on the ground. Like nah, they all
Yeah.
died straight up.
Yeah, it was like it was a little too perfect of
A little
a
bit.
solution.
Yeah, I want to see some
Yeah.
broken bones and some collateral damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But man, if we thought last week was a mid-season finale, this is for sure. I mean, this takes the cake. This thing was huge. There was so
Yeah,
many
it was.
revelations, cool Easter egg stuff, like seeing his father. He's like, oh yeah, it was possible. I didn't tell you about it because I didn't think it was relevant. Supes was like, what? What are you talking about, man? And of course, like his mother, and like he got some closure there, and she's all proud of him and the man he's become and all that. And like that's all very sweet. He got some closure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it was cool to see him interact more with his mom because you don't really see that too often.
in any media, like
Yeah.
in any of the movies, live action, animated, yeah, that was a first. So I'm
Mhm.
like, this is really neat how it's like it's familiar, but it's new. Everything I've seen here is new.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really touching moment. Everything's coming together, Big Apple. You know, there's 15 episodes they have ordered.
Oh, there's 15.
Yeah,
Okay.
it used to be 13, but
Yeah.
then they ordered 2 more.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna have 15 this season.
What?
Yeah, I thought we were gonna be done after this, pretty much. But of course, Morgan Edge flies off. And he goes to meet Lang. No,
Lang.
Lana, Laura. It's Lana or Laura. It's probably Laura.
Yeah.
His right hand. His right hand.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, it's basically just down to them two. So I mean, they're taking L's left and right. And he's like, it's fine, it doesn't matter. And they walk ominously up to like some sort of, I guess those are the caves, ex-kryptonite caves or something.
Right.
I assume that's what it was.
I think so.
Anyway, whatever it was, they're walking up to it, and he seems sure of himself. I'm like, how does this guy seem so sure of himself if he's taking L's every turn? He lost his generator. He's like, it's fine. He lost like literally all of his people. He's like, it's fine. Like I'm like,
Yeah. Is like
what trick does he have up his sleeve?
Yeah, is this all part of his plan, or does he just have
Like
like
plan C, D, E,
contingencies
yeah,
all the way?
all the way to freaking Mars.
Yeah.
No, there's no
Like-
way, man. There's like, what does he have up his sleeve? So I think it's time for speculation, some juicy speculation.
Mm.
What's his Hail Mary? Is he gonna use? Is he gonna use? Is it Laura? Laura
I think it's actually
or
Lana.
Lana? Okay,
And I
whatever.
think
His right hand,
Laura
that woman.
is,
Laura. Yeah.
hometown.
Okay, so Lana, Laura, whatever. His right hand, that woman. Is he
Yes.
gonna use her to like make some super mega Kryptonian? Is he gonna fuse with her, or is like I don't know. Like, what is he gonna do? Is he gonna sacrifice her, make her like a walking nuke? Like-
Man, I don't know.
All right. Well,
I feel like they're kind of underplaying her too, because
right.
she's always kind of in the background.
Yeah.
It seems like at times they're sort of forgetting about her, or at least
I would agree with that.
purposely putting her in the back.
I feel like she has to have a bigger role to play. Maybe
Yeah.
she goes off the deep end and does something really extreme.
Mm.
Maybe she does some super sleuthing, finds out Superman's like secret identity, his little other life, and he like puts
Yeah.
the family in. And maybe then he's like, she brings him to Edge, and she's like, here you go, and they're all hostage, and then Supes has to choose between his family or like the Kryptonian future. And then like, what lengths does he go to? Does he like fry them in front of his family in order to save them? I don't know, Big A. That's
Yeah.
some juicy speculation. You think it's too dark? What do you think? What do you think they're gonna do?
Man, I don't know, because I mean they've kind of hinted at like Superman going rogue
Mm-hmm.
and turning. So we could see that. Could see maybe him like lure, like somehow con Superman joining him.
You know what I think might happen? If they do that and they end up capturing, like Morgan Edge ends up capturing Supes' family,
Yeah.
he might have to reveal his secret identity to Irons, right? And then be
Yeah.
like, I need your help. And he's like, why would I help you? And then he like takes off the cape. He's like, because it's me and that's my family and da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, I don't want to see Lois die. And Irons is like, I don't want to either. I don't know. And then he goes and helps them, and they do like a little buddy, and they buddy up.
Yeah,
And
they
it's
could.
like final Shazam, bam. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm spitballing here, but that could be really cool. And then that way they could tie him, because they spent like the whole first half of the season on him. And I could tie that in, give him some like, send him off. You know, he could do whatever.
Right.
Give him some agency. Maybe he has like a final suit or whatever.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That could be tight.
Yeah, maybe he'll get his own show at some point.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll go that far. We'll see. Well, because I mean, this
I
show
mean, yeah.
they didn't even get a full run. I mean, it was like 15
Yeah, that's
episodes.
true.
So I mean, we'll see. There's only so much money in CW's budget. But otherwise, a really good episode. I mean, this this show is just solid through and through. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next, Big Apple.
Hmm.
Any other final thoughts? You
Good.
chilling? All right, cool. Well, that's our review. And for Media Munchers, I'm Mathian.
I'm Agent.
We'll see you next time.